of the Committee on Foreign Affairs of the Commission on Appointments in the third regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Mr. Secretary, kindly call the roll.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Committee on Foreign Affairs of the Commission on Appointments, the Honorable Chairperson, Senator Panfilo M. Lacson is present. The other officers and members of this committee are Advincula, Almario, Alvarez Jr., Arbison,
Present.
Cagas, Chepeco Jr., De La Rosa,
Present.
Drilon, Ferrer IV, Heron, Go,
Present.
Noel, Pancho,
Present.
Pangilinan, Pimentel III, Po,
Present.
Ramirez Sato, Recto, Revilla Jr.,
Present.
Villanueva, Villar, Zamora,
Present.
Subiri.
With one member physically present and 9 members online, the chair hereby declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader,
Mr. Chair, I move to dispense with the reading of the minutes held on September 1, 2021 and consider the same as approved.
is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Today, the Committee on Foreign Affairs will deliberate on 1 nomination and 18 ad interim appointments of officials in the Department of Foreign Affairs. Of the 19 nominee and appointees, 8 are present in person and 11 are present online in today's deliberation. Please stand up as your name is called. Mario Fontanilla Chan, Sulpicio Miguel Confiado, Nathaniel Garcia Imperial, Jose Almodovar Cabrera III, Rosario Paulino Lemke, Marcos Angelo Abad Santos Punsalang, Ari Severino Villa Escusa Convalecer, J. Anthony Aquino Reyes, Charlie Pacaña Manangan, Jaiseline Mancendido Quintana, Renato Pedro Wabel Villa, Leo Tito Lunar Osan Jr., Emilio Torres Fernandez, Jose Francisco Ignacio, Maria Paz Gavan Cortez. Yes, thank you. Cristina Gracia Rola McKernan, sorry. Rachel Paharilaga Quiñones, Redentor Diaz Genotiva, Mary Grace Villanueva Villamayor. Secretary Villacorta kindly report on the status of the jurisdictional requirements and other relevant information relative to the nomination and interim appointments of 19 officials in the Department of Foreign Affairs in compliance with the new rules of the Commission and the new rules of the standing committees.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, one nominee and 18 appointees have complied with the submission of the necessary documentary requirements pursuant to Section 24, Chapter 6 of the new rules of the Commission. Their nomination and ad interim appointments were referred to by the Commission Chairman, Senate President Vicente C. Soto III, on various dates to the Committee on Foreign Affairs pursuant to Section 16, Chapter 5 of the new rules of the Commission. Likewise, their nomination and ad interim appointments were published on various dates in two newspapers of general circulation and broadcast over PTB4 pursuant to Section 2, Article 2 of the new rules of the standing committees. Your Secretariat received a letter from DFA HRMO signed by OIC Mersolid J. Mellejor, dated 16 September 2021, addressed to the committee chairman, Senator Panfilo M. Lacson, requesting for the waiver of personal appearances of 10 officials of the Department of Foreign Affairs, namely Charlie Pacanya Manangan, Jaycelyn Mancenido Quintana, Leo Tito Lunar Ausan Jr., Emilio Torres Fernandez, Josel Francisco Ignacio, Maria Paz Gaban Cortez, Cristina Gracia Rola McKernan, Rachel Paharillaga Quiñones, Redentor Diaz Genotiva, Mary Grace Villanueva Villamayor. The aforementioned officials are currently assigned abroad and are needed in their respective posts to provide assistance to nationals and perform vital consular, political, economic, and cultural functions. The request for waiver of their physical appearance is also in line with the austerity and safety measures implemented in connection with the COVID-19 pandemic. HRMO-DFA likewise requested in the same letter for waiver of personal appearance of Mr. Renato Pedro Wabel Villa, Chief of Mission Class 1, who is currently assigned in DFA Mindanao. These 11 DFA officials, however, are appearing online in today's hearing. The Commission Secretariat did not receive any opposition against the nominee and appointees under consideration. Your Secretariat likewise received a letter dated 15 September 2021 from the DFA HRMO informing the chairperson of the Committee on Foreign Affairs that the resignation of Ms. Catherine Rose G. Torres, Foreign Service Officer Class 1, effective 25 August 2021, has been accepted by the Executive Secretary Salvador C. Medialdea of the Office of the President. That is all, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors.
Thank you. The resignation of Ms. Catherine Rose G. Torres, Foreign Service Officer Class 1, effective 25 August 2021 is duly noted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, I move that the letter dated September 16, 2021, signed by the OIC Mellejor requesting for the waiver of personal appearances of 11 officials for reasons stated therein and as reported by the CA Secretary be approved. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Secretary Villacorta kindly administer the oath to the nominee and appointees.
kindly stand and raise your right hand, and those online. This all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding, so help you God. Mr. Chairman, they are now all under oath.
Thank you. The nominee, Mr. Mario Chan, kindly take the front seat. Yes. You may now proceed with your introductory statement, if any.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to myself.
Yes, kindly remove your.
My name is Mario Fontanilla Chan. Prior to my nomination, I have served the government for 41 years and 11 months, 38 years of which were in the active military service, where I have reached the rank of Major General, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, before my compulsory retirement at the age 56, and my last posting was commander of the 8th Infantry Division, Philippine Army. 2 years were in the Department of Environment and Natural Resources as head executive assistant of Secretary Roy Simatu, and 1 year and 11 months in the Department of Foreign Affairs as Executive Assistant 6 of Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. I have also served 3 years at the Philippine Embassy, New Delhi, India, as a military diplomat. The Philippines depends on our forces attaché to India with concurrent jurisdiction over Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. In the AFP and in the DNR, I have also served in additional duties with engagement with foreign government agencies and institutions, including international and regional organizations on matters pertaining to defense and military, and on environment and natural resources concerns, respectively. In April 2019, while still serving at the DNR, Secretary Simatu, in coordination with Secretary Locsin, sent me as his advance party and head of the Philippine Contingent Rapid Response Team to the Philippine Embassy, Tripoli, Libya, that is in North Africa, in compliance to the instructions of the President to bring out of harm's way the overseas Filipino workers, or the OFWs, due to the security tensions there. In Libya, that event led to my eventual transfer to the DFA on October 1, 2019. In Libya, I have assisted the head of mission in the management of the embassy as per his instructions because they were undermanned, aside from providing security advice for the safety and reputation of the OFWs during the siege in Tripoli and at the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. And I would like to take this opportunity, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, to express my profound gratitude to the President, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, and all of you, the members of the Philippine Congress, Secretary Locsin, the Secretary Simatu, Secretary Rolensana, for the full support extended to us there, which led to the success of our effort, resulting in 0 death casualty and the repatriation of hundreds of OFWs, not only from Libya, but also from Tunisia and Algeria, who were affected by the coronavirus pandemic. The repatriations also include 2 body remains of OFWs who died in Libya, not due to COVID, but due to vehicular accident and heart ailment, and 1 medical repatriation in collaboration with the International Organization on Migration, where the OFW repertory, upon reaching Manila, was flown all the way to her home city in Zamboanga City by a C-295 Philippine Air Force plane provided by Secretary Lorenzana. In view of my nomination as Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary to the Federative Republic of Brazil with concurrent jurisdiction over Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, and Suriname, of which I would like to continue serving our government in pursuing the implementation of the pillars of the Philippine foreign policy. I would like to assure you, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, that in the performance of my duties, our national interests shall be protected, our foreign relations with these countries shall be enhanced, and the welfare of the overseas Filipinos will be promoted and their rights and interests protected. I would be deeply honored and extremely grateful for your confirmation of my nomination. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, General Chan. The nominee is now ready to respond to any comment or question from the members. Yes, Senator Ronald De La Rosa, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Please allow me to manifest my support for the confirmation of the appointment and nomination of the men and women of the Department of Foreign Affairs, especially to Ambassador Mario Chan. The Philippine Embassy, wherever it may be, is an extension of our territory and sovereignty. It should always be led by ambassadors who shall embody our country's image of having industrious and respectable citizens. Ambassador Mario Chan, who was a former intelligence officer, is a very advantageous is in a very advantageous position for our country to have a person who knows the importance of alliance building, especially in an international stage such as South America. His experience and training in the military as an intelligence officer, particularly in the field of strategic intelligence, will surely be an asset for our people, most especially in times of turmoil. This will ensure the safety and protection of our OFWs in a region where historically conflicts were for a time rampant. Again, I believe that the appointees and nominee who have been today have shown who have been here today have shown exemplary performance in providing government services and catering to the needs of our Filipino overseas, especially our OFWs. I have very I have very confidence that they will continue to serve our country with renewed vigor. May you continue to uphold the safety and welfare of our OFWs. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator De La Rosa. Any other member? Yes, aside from what you already stated, General Chan, and what was manifested by Senator De La Rosa, how can you further convince the members of this committee that you can be a good diplomat?
Kindly repeat the question, Your Honor. I didn't hear it well.
Please speak louder.
I would say, may I request, Your Honor, to repeat the question? I also did not hear it well.
Sabi ko, aside from what you have already stated in your introductory statement and the manifestation made by Senator De La Rosa, how can you further convince the members of this committee that you can be a good diplomat?
Oh, definitely, Your Honor, because I have an experience already with as a Philippine Defense Armed Forces attaché, 3 years in India, and I have a very good. I was able to establish a very good relations with all the counterparts there, and which also with the host country, which made the relationship between India and the Philippines very active. And I believe that with my experience will be helpful for me to do the job as an ambassador.
Thank you. Thank you, General. Any other member who wishes to be recognized and propound questions? Majority Leader.
I move to recommend to the plenary for the commission to give its consent to the nomination of Mr. Mario Fontanilla Chan, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to the Federative Republic of Brazil, with concurrent jurisdiction over the Republic of Colombia, Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Republic of Suriname, and Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, with the salary and emoluments of a Chief of Mission Class 1.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, General Chan. You can return to your seat.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry. Is there any objection from the members? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Thank you. Yes, Representative Nene Sato is recognized. You raising your hand? Representative Sato is recognized. Yes, ma'am. Huh? Kindly
Mr.
unmute.
Chairman,
Yes, sige. Go ahead, please. Kita marinig. Yeah. Congresswoman Sato, please go ahead. While waiting for Representative Sato, any other member who wishes to be recognized? In the meantime, is there any member who wishes to propound, to ask questions of any of our appointees or interim appointees? Wala.
Sir.
Yes, we can see you now, Representative Sato. Nene, go ahead. Kindly unmute your mic. Hindi tayo marinig. Ha? Anong decision niya? Forgo na niya na?
Okay.
Yes, yes, Representative
I-
Nene, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'm experiencing bad connection.
Yes, we can see that, but we can hear you now.
Mr. Chairman, I'm experiencing bad connection. I would just want to manifest my support to the. I am unmuted, Mr. Chairman.
We can hear you, Representative
Um,
Sato. We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, but there bad signal. I'm sorry, I'm experiencing bad signal, Mr. Chairman. I would just want to manifest my support to the confirmation of the Honorable Mario Fontanilla Chan. He is personally known to me when he was a brigade commander of for both provinces of Occidental and Oriental Mindoro. And I know him to be a man of integrity, probity, and determination. And during his stint as the head executive assistant to Secretary Simato, he respected and helped Occidental Mindoro stand up in its position against mining in Occidental Mindoro. In view thereof, Mr. Chairman, I recommend for his confirmation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative
Hindi niya na
Sato.
narinig yun. Off na ako eh.
Yes, Majority Leader, do I hear a motion? First, the chair would like to recognize the presence of Senator Coco Pimentel. Good morning, sir. Yes, Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Chair, I move that the committee also recommend to the plenary for the commission to confirm the ad interim appointments of the remaining 18 appointees in the Department of Foreign Affairs, namely Sulpicio Miguel Confiado, Nathaniel Garcia Imperial, Charlie Pacanya Manangan, Jaiseline Mancenido Quintana, Renato Pedro Wabel Villa, Leo Tito Leonard Ausan Jr., Jose Almodavar Cabrera III, Emilio Torres Fernandez, Josel Francisco Ignacio, Rosario Paulino Lemke, Marcos Angelo Abad Santos Punsalang, Aris Severino Villascuesa Convalcer, Maria Paz Gaban Cortes, Cristina Garcia Rola Makernan, Rachel Pajarilla Quiñones, J. Anthony Aquino Reyes, Redentor Diaz Enotiba, Mary Grace Villanueva Villamor. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Before we act on the motion, Senator De La Rosa, you're recognized.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we act on the motion of the majority leader, pwede one question lang to Renato Pedro Wabel Villa, Chief of Mission, Class 1. Can I ask one question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you may proceed.
Is he around, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Renato Pedro Wabel Villa.
Yes, I think it's online, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
He's
Thank you,
present.
Mr. Chair. Sir, your record states that you were loaded for directing the embassy's National Task Force to end local communist armed conflict, to counter the anti-Philippine government messaging and fundraising activities of the front organization of the CPP-NPA-NDF in the U.S. by engaging and conducting meetings with the Filipino-American groups and U.S. government officials and influencers in coordination with the Philippine Consulates General in the U.S. My question is, were you able to find out who were behind the anti-Philippine government messaging and fundraising activities in the USA?
Thank you, Senator De La Rosa. During my tour of duty as Deputy Chief of Mission in the U.S., one of my responsibilities to chair the NTF LCAC in the U.S. And of course, we were able to, because we also have resource persons from the NTF here in the Philippines, and they pointed out the frontline organizations of the CPP and PA in the U.S. To tell you frankly, the front organizations have deep influence because of their long presence in the U.S. So we are just beginning, and hopefully we can counter their activities. Your Honor.
Thank you for that answer, uh, Mr. Renato Pedro Wabel Villa. Because uh, my main concern was to find out really who are behind the financing of these anti-government efforts, dahil nga kung makita mo, no, you are personally experiencing that before your eyes. Nagtataka ka bakit ibagsak ang rehimeng Duterte tapos sumisigaw mga Amerikano, o kung hindi mga Amerikano, mga Pilipino PhilAm who were born and raised in the US na walang kaalam-alam sa totoong nangyayari dito sa Pilipinas. So obviously, they are being paid. Nababayaran ito sila. So sana, if you have the means, we are going to help in identifying the source of funds of these activities, dahil alam natin talaga na nababayaran itong mga tao na ito. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat po. Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Senator De La Rosa. Now there's a pending motion to refer to the plenary the confirmation of 18 ad interim appointees. Is there an objection?
I second the motion.
Yes. Okay. Properly seconded.
Mr. Chair.
The motion is approved. Thank you. Congratulations. See you in the plenary.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
there being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Sorry. Is there an objection? This meeting is adjourned. Napaaga yung congratulations ko.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Committee on Justice and Judicial and Bar Council of the Commission on Appointments. The Honorable Chairman Aquilino Coco Pimentel III is present. The other officers and members of this committee are Chepeco Jr.,
Present.
Alvarez Jr., Arbison,
Present.
Cagas, De La Rosa,
Present.
Ferrer IV, Go,
Present.
Lacson, Noel,
Present.
Pangilinan, Po, Ramirez Sato, Recto, Revilla Jr.,
Present.
Villar, Subiri, Zamora,
Present.
Almario, Villanueva, Pancho,
Present.
Drilon, Advincula,
Present.
Heron.
Present.
With two members present in person, and I'd like to thank Senator Lacson for keeping me company. And
Mr.
16
Chairman.
present, 16
Mr.
16
Chairman.
present online, including Senator Villar. Yes, you're counted, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. 16 present online. We have a total of 18 members present. So the chair declares the existence of a quorum.
Mr. Chairman,
Who's that, please? Senator Recto.
yes, how was I recorded?
Counted. You were counted, sir, as
Thank you
present.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presence.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Senator Pangilinan.
yes, just an administrative matter, but this refers to, with the permission of the chairman and our colleagues, and this refers to the previous hearing of the previous committee hearing, rather. I came in late because of difficulties with our online Wi-Fi signals, but I hope that the Secretariat considers me as having been in attendance at the previous hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the record.
What is our response to Senator Pangilinan? Secretary. Note, he will be
Duly noted.
okay. Duly noted. He will be marked as present. Okay, confirmed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We will proceed now. Under consideration of this committee is the ad interim appointment of the Honorable Jose Catral Mendoza as member representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court of the Judicial and Bar Council, which is under the Supreme Court of the Philippines, for a term expiring on July 9, 2025. May we now hear Secretary Villacorta's report on the status of the jurisdictional requirements in compliance with the new rules of the Commission and the new rules of the standing committees and other relevant information about the appointee. Secretary Villacorta.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors. The Commission on Appointments received on July 19, 2021, the ad interim appointment of Justice Jose Catral Mendoza and was referred by the chairperson of the Commission, Vicente C. Soto III, to the Committee on Justice and Judicial and Bar Council on July 19, 2021. pursuant to Section 16, Chapter 5 of the new rules of the Commission. The said ad interim appointment was published on July 22, 2021 in two newspapers of general circulation, the Manila Times and the Manila Standard. Pursuant to Section 2, Article 2 of the new rules of the standing committees, Justice Mendoza has complied with the submission of the mandatory documentary requirements on August 24, 2021, as provided for in Section 24, Chapter 6 of the new rules of the Commission. Your Secretariat received two letters, one dated 14 September 2021 from Dr. Prudencio P. Banson Jr., Senior Chief Staff Officer of the Supreme Court Medical and Dental Services, and the other from Justice Mendoza himself, dated 15 September 2021. Both letters were addressed to the committee chairperson, Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III, requesting that the appointee be allowed to appear online during the deliberation of his appointment as a precaution from COVID-19 exposure in view of his advanced age and comorbidities. There is no opposition filed against the ad interim appointment of Justice Mendoza. That is all, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors.
The chairman supports the request for that he be allowed to appear before us online. But Majority Leader,
Mr. Chair, I move that the letters dated September 14 and 15, 2021 of Dr. Prudencio P. Banson Jr. and Justice Jose Catral Mendoza, respectively, requesting for the waiver of his personal appearance today for the reasons stated therein and as reported by the CA Secretary be approved. I so move, Mr. Chair.
is there any objection? Okay, hearing none, the motion is approved. Secretary Villacorta, please administer the oath to Justice Mendoza.
Kindly stand up and raise your right hand, Justice Mendoza.
Yes, sir.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Chairman, Justice Mendoza is now under oath.
Justice Mendoza, you may now proceed with your introductory statement, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Senator. Mr. Chairman, Senator Aquilino Pimentel, the Majority Floor Leader, the Minority Floor Leader, and the Leader of the House of Representatives, Honorable Ronaldo Zamora, and the honorable members of the Committee on Justice and Judicial and Bar Council on Justice and Judicial and Bar Council, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Jose Catral Mendoza, a retired Justice of the Supreme Court. Last July 9, 2021, my first term as a regular member of the Judicial and Bar Council expired. On the same day, July 9, 2021, I was reappointed by the President, subject to the confirmation by the Commission on Appointments, hence my presence here. Having served for one term, I can say that aside from my qualifications, I had an actual on-the-job experience as such. Being the member representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court, I was the chairman of the JBC Executive Committee, the body in charge with the implementation of the law, rules, and policies affecting the JBC. For my first term, I can say with pride that the JBC accomplished a lot. From the records from 2017 to 2019, the JBC exceeded its target by more than double on the average. Even when the disruptive COVID-19 pandemic set in, the JBC was able to achieve 90.37% of its target, submitting each nomination for 122 stations out of 135. The JBC accomplished this by resorting to technological and digital innovations, which made remote communication possible and safer. Thus, the JBC was able to proceed online with the scheduled meetings and interviews. With respect to applicants, the JBC made it easy for them. The JBC allowed the sending of their applications and the required documents online. They can send the hard copies for comparison and verification later. We also reduced the documents required. There are those which we categorize as one-time documents, like the birth certificates, academic records, bar grades, and past service records. They only have to update their ombudsman, MBI, and PMP clearances and medical certificates. As a result, we did a rebound. As of June 30, 2021, we have surpassed our target of 68 and selected nominees for 72 positions or a percentage of 105.88%. The reforms instituted by the JBC were not limited to fast-tracking the process. We also amended the JBC rules by 1. Requiring a trial court judge or an appellate court justice to have served for at least 5 years in his or her current position before he or she can apply for promotion. This is to ensure that incumbent justices or judges will devote their time and effort in disposing their caseload before they become preoccupied with their applications for promotion. Number 2, giving preference to those applying for promotion or lateral transfer to those who have considerably reduced their docket, thus compelling those seeking promotion to avoid delays and expedite the disposition of cases. Number 3, eliminating the rule which discriminated against government lawyers. The old rule was patently unreasonable and unfair to government lawyers. A lawyer who has been in the practice of law for at least 10 years can apply for any judicial position at any level as long as he has the required age, among others. But if he is with the government, he can apply only after he has served for at least 5 years in his present position and at the level allowed on the basis of his salary grade. The disputed rule effectively barred public servants from applying for a certain period and from a higher level to their prejudice. The rule has been revised to make it only a rule of preference. Number 4, strictly implementing the pre-judicature program of the Philippine Judicial Academy. Under Section 10 of Republic Act 8557, an applicant for appointment or promotion must have satisfactorily completed the program. Completing and passing the program is a good gauge of the standard proven competence required by the Constitution. The JBC also took a proactive role by initiating a dialogue with the Integrated Bar of the Philippines with the view to convincing them to endorse candidates so that the JBC would be able to nominate the most competent, honest, and independent among their ranks. Except for the National Capital Judicial Region and nearby regions, there has been a dearth of applicants constraining the JBC to reopen the stations concerned. It has also started the process of hiring background investigators to verify the claims and declarations of the candidates, as well as the veracity of the oppositions against them. Before, the JBC had none. during my first term, with the approval of Congress, JBC was able to create at least 4 positions with the corresponding appropriations. With my experience as a practitioner, judge, justice, and JBC member, I believe I can really help the Judicial and Bar Council in its critical task of selecting for nomination the candidates for judicial positions. I believe I can gauge what a good judicial aspirant is based on his or her academic and professional record, experience, integrity, impartiality, and judicial temperament. For said reasons, I am praying that my ad interim appointment as JBC member representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court for a term expiring on July 9, 2025 be confirmed. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Justice Mendoza.
Yes.
You're ready, sir, to respond to questions, if there are any? Okay, sir. Yes, okay. The appointee is now ready to respond to any comment or question from the members of the CA. Senator, hi. Yes, before I recognize Senator Pangilinan, I recognize Congressman John Ferrer, who will have his turn to preside in the next committee meeting. Senator Pangilinan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, and members of this committee. Magandang umaga. And to our nominee, Justice Mendoza, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I was listening intently to your presentation. I was with the JBC from 2001 up to 2008.
Yes, Senator, you voted for me.
That is correct. I'm thankful you have you remember. My first question, Justice, is what is the current vacancy of the judiciary in terms of judgeship positions?
The vacancy, it's over about 300 to 500
Vacant posts.
vacant posts.
Would
That is
that
from the Supreme Court to
yes?
the
In
most
terms of percentages, would that be about 25%, 26%?
Yes, Senator. There are those because of retirement,
Yes.
resignation, dismissal from the service, incapacity, like that. And of
Yes.
course, there are those who are permanently or who are mandatorily who go to retire mandatorily after reaching the age of 70.
Yes. So you would say the vacancy in the judiciary would be around 25, 26%.
Like that, Senator,
Yes.
every year.
But you mentioned how many? 300, no? 300.
Yeah.
Yes. The reason why I raised this, Justice and Mr. Chairman, is that I recall when I sat for the first time in the JBC in 2001, the vacancies in the judiciary was 31%. Actually, a third, pretty much. And we felt then, and we continue to believe today, that part of the reason why justice is slow or the dispensation of justice is not quick enough is because you have a huge vacancy in the judgeship positions. Do you agree?
Yes, Senator, because if only for the previous vacancies, we could have easily filled them up. But Congress created these judges at large, and then the family courts, and then created new courts which added to the statistics.
Yes.
That's why every year we increase our target by 10%.
Yes.
And, but our problem, Senator, is that our problem is not in Metro Manila, but in the remote provinces, even in cities, there are very few applicants. We had to open them. We opened not only MTC, RTC, but newly created family courts. But we had to reopen because there were very few applicants despite our announcement. So about 2 weeks ago, we had a dialogue with the National Integrated Bar of the Philippines, and we asked them to endorse people to us who among their ranks who are competent, honest, and well qualified to be judges because before we were just waiting for applicants because there were too many applicants. But we noticed in the provinces there were few applicants, so we did the initiative by inviting the IBP, the National Organization of Lawyers,
Yes.
to endorse and recommend good people.
Yes. Thank you for the answer, Justice. The reason why I raised this is that, as I said earlier, when we entered the JBC in 2001, the vacancy rate was 31%. And we said this was not acceptable. And so a combination of interventions, the JBC legislation, and even executive action, the president, we put together these interventions. One was to increase the compensation and benefits of judges. This was Republic Act. I forget but it was in 2003 under the leadership then of Chief Justice Davide. And this created well, I wouldn't say a tsunami, but a huge surge of applications. Because pretty much when we combine the allowances and the take-home pay, halos dumoble yung pinaka take-home pay ng ating mga judges and justices. So lumaki yung application. You would agree that pay is one of the key reasons why there are few applicants, hindi po ba?
Yes, I'm very surprised because maybe they lack qualifications or they do not know really that there were announcements already. But
Yes, yes.
we announced the vacancies in the newspapers in two newspapers nationally circulated, and also in our website. We always invite the lawyers to visit our website. We have announcement there with respect to the vacancies.
Yes.
Uh,
But
there are
would low pay be one of the factors as to the few, apart from, of course, information?
no longer, Senator. I don't
So
think
it's
it's
no longer that. Okay,
no
well, that's
longer.
good news. Because when we did that in 2003, we pretty much doubled the pay of our judges and justices. And then we had a massive recruitment. Of course, now it's COVID, the JBC regular members would conduct interviews in Cebu, in Cagayan de Oro, in Davao, to be able to bring in precisely the
We
best
did
and the brightest.
we did that, Senator, except this pandemic times. We
Yes,
could
yes.
not.
And the other, the other challenge to us then was precisely how to convince them in terms of information dissemination that this is the process, this is what is available. But ultimately, without the leadership support of the uh, Supreme Court, we couldn't have done what we did because we were able to bring down the vacancy in the entire bureaucracy, the judiciary, by up to 16%. In other words, from a high of 31%, by 2005, you can check the records of the JBC, or 2006, it was down to 16%. So we slashed the vacancy in half. But this required the JBC to be conducting interviews every day
Yes,
Uh,
Senator Daly.
and conducting involving around 15 to 20 applicants, but actually times 3 kasi you have to interview a lot, hindi ba, for 10 slots.
Yes, Senator.
So the JBC was actually interviewing around 30 to 40 lawyers every day
Yes,
to be able
Senator.
to,
I remember
yes,
when we were last in Cebu, we started interviewing at 8 o'clock. We finished at night already. And
yes, yes.
we divided the
It's
candidates
taxing, you know, it's taxing, but we
mentally
achieved,
taxing.
you know, we achieved a 50% drop, you know, in the vacancy rates within the period of 5 years.
Yes.
The other thing that we introduced, we were working on introducing, but I don't know if it has been achieved. No? Today, I don't have the information. We were working on an intergovernment agency coordinating committee between the Supreme Court, the DOJ, the PAO, the state universities, the Solgen, among others, all government lawyers, you know, a
Yes.
network, an interagency network of all government lawyers. Of course, you can expand it as you have, you know, to the IBP and maybe private law schools, no, that should regularly meet, and the JBC will meet them and seek, di ba? Seek nominations, endorsements, no? And at the same time, that interagency committee, which I was proposing before I left the JBC, was to have an, a secretariat that would have a report, that would have a database of all government lawyers. The reason why we wanted this to happen was that so that the entry level PAO lawyer can someday can aspire to become a Supreme Court Chief Justice, and and there is a interagency network or organization or committee that precisely provides the platform within which a PAO lawyer, a prosecutor, a Solgen first entry level are all part of that database. Their performance is tracked, no? Their track record is tracked, and then the JBC, as it recruits, has already that database, and they know sino yung mga, di ba, magagaling, sino yung may integrity, alam natin, sino yung mga may nagkaroon na ng kaso, etc. Para yung hindi man you know, the psychic reward of I'm committed and dedicated to government service because one day, you know, I start out as a first entry level lawyer, as a public attorney, and one day I can be Chief Justice. Is there that kind of mechanism today with respect to the different government offices that have lawyers?
We have plenty of applicants from the DOJ, Senator, from the PAO and the prosecutors and the Solgen, and we have no problem. We have plenty of applicants from them. Actually, Senator, in the Supreme Court, there are now 2 sitting justices who were formerly PAO lawyers. Senator,
Yes, I understand that because
they
I
reached the
understand.
Supreme Court. They were
Yes.
PAO lawyers.
Yes,
Uh,
and I understand, Justice, that yes, the bulk of those who apply for judgeship positions come from government offices. But
yes.
my point is that you know, it would be good to share information. It would be good to be, you know, we should select the best and the brightest. And in that kind of coordination effort, although yes, it's not a problem that they apply, but you'd like to have that ongoing coordination, sharing of information, gathering, and then of course recruitment. And not just in the academe. You can also get an expanded interagency committee with the lawyers, the private law firms, with the academe, just to coordinate a more aggressive, a more proactive recruitment And that's nice to hear, no? And that should be a story that the interagency committee should keep telling our young lawyers. The two justices of the Supreme Court started out as a public attorney, lawyers in the public attorney's office. So that, sabi nga nila, you know, it will also be justice. It will also be a deterrent in terms of, you know, corruption or you know, because precisely the judge or the POW lawyer knows the JBC has this interagency sharing of information, this committee. And if I do wrong here and my reputation is tarnished here, diba, I am actually giving up my dream of you know, a lifelong dedicated commitment to government service and diba, public lawyering and public being a public law or public interest law or government lawyer. Hindi po ba?
I was informed by our executive officer before that they used to do it, but according to her, to discourage government lawyers from transferring to the judiciary, they put up this rule requiring government lawyers to that they cannot apply if they have not stayed 5 years in their current position and at the level allowed by their salary grade. We changed the rule. So
Yes.
now the government lawyers can apply because they are at a disadvantage compared to or in contrast to the private practitioners. The private
Yes.
practitioners can enter, they have 10 years, they can apply, no hindrance. But government lawyers, that's why we remove it. So now, I think, Senator, with your suggestion, we will again resume that because they were discouraged. But according to her, one Secretary of Justice before suggested that because they were running, all prosecutors were applying for the judiciary and they were losing prosecutors and power lawyers. That's why
Well,
that rule was,
yes.
we
Yes, but
changed
that
the rule.
challenge, that you know, we should not prevent, di ba, the
Yes,
lawyer from aspiring.
yeah,
That should not be the approach. If you know, if you ask me, the resolution for this for the DOJ losing their prosecutors is to aggressively recruit more prosecutors because
yes,
they too have a huge vacancy rate with the public
yes,
prosecutor's office. So hindi solusyon yung wag kayong aalis. Wag yung, di ba? Bakit natin pipigilan yung isang abogado na to aspire, di ba? To become a chief justice and work
yes.
hard for it. I mean that should be it should be an incentive to aspire for the highest post in the judiciary. And we should not create hurdles for that, hindi ba? Ang solution dapat dun, i-recruit ninyo yung mas maraming abogado. Problema ninyo yun. Maghanap kayo ng kapalit. Pero wag naman yung sabihin, hindi kayo pwedeng umalis. Hanggang dyan na lang kayo. And I'm happy that you agree, Justice. Dapat talaga. I'm sure you, as a young lawyer, diba, the path towards the becoming Chief Justice should be open and wide so that the incentive to work hard, the incentive to adhere to excellence, diba? And having integrity will be there. It will be an
Yes.
inspiration. So anyway,
The
the last,
present Senator, sorry, the present Secretary of Justice supported the amendment. It
Hi.
removed that
Yes.
hurdle.
Yes, that's very good. My last question would be, is there a target? For example, when I shared earlier, we reduced, diba, the percentage of vacancies from 31 to 16%. Should
Yes.
not the JBC as a constitutional body come up with precisely, you know, I'd like to see a vacancy rate of single digit. Hindi po ba?
It is our dream, but it's really very difficult. We increased our target, we reached them, but sometimes we could not achieve more because there are uh, stations where there were very few applicants.
Yes.
So we could not comply with the constitutional requirement of at least 3 nominees. So we
Yes.
have to reopen. That's where
Yes.
we are frustrated because we could have achieved more
Yes.
and reduce
Yes.
the vacancies to the single digit.
But I hope the JBC, will be very aggressive in addressing the lowering of the vacancy rates, because I wouldn't want the JBC to be running in place, ika nga. Which is what I already manifested this many years ago, that we might just be running in place. In other words, we're doing so much, but every time we accomplish all these processing of appointments and they get appointed, and then a judge retires, or a judge is dismissed from the service, or passes away. So, and then more courts are created, edi hindi na mababawasan yung vacancy rate. Parang tumatakbo lang tayo in place. And as I said in the beginning, um, the shelf life of cases during my time in the JBC, I understand, was 6 years average in the first level court. And
That's too high.
yeah, that was six years in the first level courts. I don't know what the shelf life of our cases are in the first level court. But if it is in that vicinity, and part of the reason precisely is because of the absence of judges in 1/4 of your system, kumbaga, babagal talaga yung sistema ng katarungan. As you know, Justice, hindi ba? Magkakaroon ng pairing judge, or magkakaroon ng temporary designation. Siyempre yung judge na yun, physically, ano uunahin niya? Yung kaso
In
nung
Metro
sala
Manila,
niya.
in Metro Manila and nearby regions, Senator, we have no problem. So many applicants. In fact, the problem is the courtrooms. The local government could not provide. The Supreme Court is the Hall of Justice Committee, but they cannot. They have to look for lands, for lease, or for
Yes.
purchase, like that.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Thank you. And therefore, sana the JBC would not be running in place, that there is a target that will reduce the vacancy so that we can speed up the disposition of cases, and therefore bring down the shelf life of cases. Dapat sana 2 years.
We always increase our target, Senator, by at least 10%,
Thank
because
you.
there
Thank you.
were so many
And my
courts created.
Yes, and my final manifestation would be, as you earlier, and probably you can respond to it too. As you early, just previously, you mentioned court creation,
Yes.
salas, etc. No, and this we manifested in the budget debates last year. Would you agree that doubling the judiciary budget, let's say in a span of one presidential term in 6 years, kumbaga you add maybe 3 billion a year for a period of 6 years, with of course the budget will come from us, no, but with the understanding that there is a plan, no? I know there is a judiciary modernization action program for judiciary reforms. Would increasing significantly the judiciary budget precisely be one of the major interventions to ensure that we have a modern, active, proactive, responsive justice system?
It will help, Senator, because most of our courts, especially in the provinces, they are dependent. Even in Manila, in the National Capital Judicial Region, they are very dependent on the local government.
Yes.
I was assigned as an RTC just in Quezon City. We were very dependent upon the city government for supplies, for manpower, like that. We are really very dependent. But if the Congress can provide the right appropriation, the Supreme Court to the Hall of Justice can purchase lands and build halls of justices. That's our problem. As near as here in Cavite or in Laguna, there are judges, 3 judges sharing one sala, so they cannot really move. That's why delays are there are delays being created by this lack of facilities, infrastructures.
Yes, thank you, Justice Mendoza, for your response and your answers. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, colleagues.
very
I have no other questions. Maraming salamat. I endorse the nominee for confirmation. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
sir. The chairman acknowledges the presence of Senator Drilon. Sir, you're present already. But Senator Lacson wants to be recognized. So Senator Lacson is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Uh,
Before I ask just one question,
Senator,
I would like to personally attest to the competence and distinction of Justice Mendoza when he served as a member of the judiciary, from RTC all the way up to the High Court, and he continues to serve well as a member of the JBC. Now, my one question is, how independent is the JBC? Justice Mendoza. I asked that question because, we often hear from the grapevine who would be the next Chief Justice or who would be the next Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, even before they get appointed or even before they get shortlisted. So I ask again that question, how independent, and the batting average in this regard is quite high, Justice Mendoza. So I'd like to go back to my one question. How independent is the JBC? I'm not directing this question to you, Justice, but to the entire membership of the JBC. So kindly respond, Justice Mendoza.
thank you very much, Senator. I have not heard of the grapevine. So we just nominate people who are qualified and whom we do not even consider that they will be appointed or they will not be appointed, because we have nominated people several times and still Malacanang did not appoint them, but they still applied and we nominated them because they were qualified. The basic constitutional requirements are is proven competence that will be based on their records and their achievements and professional records, academic also, and integrity and independence. Those and probity, those are the 4 basic constitutional qualifications. If we hear that if we hear something negative or learn something negative against a candidate, we verify the complaints against the candidate, or we have them double check. But if there is no strong evidence and we are still in doubt, we put them in the second preference. We have preferences, but maybe Senator, you have a good system. You have a grapevine regarding, no, but we do not consider them. We do not talk among ourselves with respect. This is the person favored by the Malacanang people, or this. We do not receive those. We have not heard of such rumors. We even there were cases when we They're all gossips because for example, the court administrator has been nominated several times and still, and everybody will say he will be the next one. Pero hindi pa rin na-appoint. And then the last one, Justice Lima Ampao, we have nominated him, I think, 14 to 15 times. Sabi namin, hindi ma-appoint. But this time, he got it. So we cannot predict what who the president will choose. But we nominate the best and the brightest. We do not consider the political affiliations of the candidates or their views, political views, Senator.
Yeah, maraming salamat po. Kaya ko lang naitanong kasi, I don't know about the JBC, pero sa labas, madalas po tama yung hula namin eh. Kung sino na-appoint na susunod. So
mas
kaya
mag-
nga nagtataka lang po ako, bakit madalas tumatama yung aming hula o yung narinig namin chismis kung sino yung susunod na even Chief Justice or sino yung mag-fill up ng vacancy sa Korte Suprema, sino susunod na ombudsman. Parang sa labas, alam na bago pa mag-deliberate ang JBC. So yun lang po, Justice. Again, I'm not directing that question to you, no? Dahil ang question ko is directed nga do sa buong membership ng JBC. Maraming salamat po and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Apo.
Thank you,
Yun
Senator.
lang ho sa Chief Justices, medyo na-predict ko rin namin yung seniority. We voted for the most senior lagi. Doon lang po. Pero doon sa Associate Justices, wala ho kami nadidinig.
Thank you. Thank you. Senator Drilon, you're raising your hand, sir.
Yes. Yes, I'd like to take the floor to ask a few questions on the nominee.
Yes, sir, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. At the outset, let me spread into the record that I will support the confirmation of Justice Mendoza. He was my dorm mate in the mid-60s in the Akal Residence Hall, together with another eminent justice, the late Supreme Court Justice Pepe Perez. We were in the same wing, in the same dorm. We were in our early 20s then. So ngayon mas maraming puti na buhok kaysa akin si Justice Mendoza. But let me already again reiterate that I will support the confirmation of the good justice. But I would like to pursue the point raised by Senator Lacson. As the records will show, prior to the constitution of the Judicial and Bar Council in the, I think, is it the 1987 Constitution, the appointments to the judiciary before was, if I recall correctly, confirmed by the Commission on Appointments. Is that a correct recollection, Mr. Justice?
Yes, before the 1987 Constitution,
Yes.
Senator.
Before the 1987 Constitution, all appointments to the judiciary is confirmed by the CA. And the Judicial and Bar Council was precisely constituted in order to shield the appointments to the judiciary from political pressure and intervention. Would you confirm that, Mr. Justice?
That was the reason for the creation of the Judicial and Bar Council, Senator.
Now, pursuing the question of Senator Lacson, do you really believe that political influence does not enter the, is that a consideration in the appointments to the judiciary?
But it will be in the office of the president, because in the JBC we nominate only those who are competent to be judges or justices. Maybe in Malacanang, I think they have the added consideration of political.
But Mr. Justice, there are politicians as members of the JBC,
Yes, yes.
and therefore inevitably, political considerations would come in. Would you agree with that?
I will agree with that, Senator. At least they are represented. Everybody is represented. I represent the retired justices of the Supreme Court. Although they are not they are already disqualified. They recommend the people, and when we are conducting interviews, they suggest questions. But the other members, they represent the academe, the private sector, the IBP, like that. Then the academe, also the private sector. So every sector is represented. So there are political consideration with respect to the representative of Congress, either Senator Gordon or Congressman Ching Veloso.
Yes, but
Eh,
even yeah, well, inevitably, the representative of the president in the JBC, the Secretary of Justice, uh,
Yes.
unavoidably, political pressure can be brought upon him. Not his
Yes.
fault, but
No.
because he's a representative of the president.
Yes, yes.
You agree with that?
But they
Now,
do not assert, they do not campaign, nobody campaigns so much.
I'm
Like,
not saying, I'm just talking about realities.
yes, that
Okay,
is the reality.
now,
They have their own constituents and interest.
given this reality, and if you are given a chance, Justice Mendoza, would you ask or would you support in a constitutional amendment the overhaul of the membership in the JBC?
An increase, I think, Senator, of at least one or two regular members, because we have our hands full. The ex officio members really do not participate in the day-to-day uh, procedures we are undertaking. Oh,
So you would rather add regular
regular,
members,
yes.
career members of the JBC, rather than change the composition? So that right now there are what, seven? Are there seven members?
Seven
Uh,
members, Senator, but regular
and
members, there are four. Ex officio, there are three.
ex officio, there are three. And you're saying that the regular members should be increased, probably adding two more. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, Senator, because for every vacancy, there's so many applicants, especially in Metro Manila. The last time in Quezon City, there was only one vacancy, and there were 165 qualified candidates. And then we interviewed them one by one for only one position. And we were really very tired.
Okay, so if you have a chance, you're saying that let us maintain uh, present composition, but add more regular members in order that on a full-time basis,
Yes, or
the
maybe
career,
if
yeah.
by constitutional amendment, uh, we can increase also members from Congress, one from the lower house and one from the upper house. Right
Yeah,
now, there is only one,
to correct,
representative.
yeah.
Yes, I think there should be two representing the lower house and the Senate.
Yes.
But it should
Would
be the number should be odd in case
number, yes.
of tie.
Add-
Yes.
Now, what about the appointing authority? Given a chance, would you favor changing the appointing authority from the president to say the chief justice in a constitutional amendment?
I think it should be the president, senator. But I think with respect to this chief justice and the court and bank, they should be given, in case of lateral transfers, they should be given the power to transfer a judge who is already there, to be transferred to a place where he wants to be presiding, because they are already judges, and at the present situation they again apply,
Yes.
again apply for lateral transfer. uh,
Yeah. Yes, all right. In other words, what you're saying is that if it's a transfer from one court or one branch to another, this should be given to the Chief Justice or to the court and bank. I would
yes,
prefer the Chief Justice.
yes,
In other words,
senator, upon the
these are
recommendation of
already
the
judges.
OCA.
Yes, these are incumbent judges who would move from one branch to the other. Is that correct?
Yes, senator, after a certain number of years, because they have to work.
Yeah.
For,
Yes. Now, that does not need a constitutional amendment, does it? It's only
no,
a
no, no,
provision
no,
of
senator.
judiciary.
Judicial, yes, by law, by law,
By law, it can be
uh,
done. I am
empower.
inviting the attention of both members of all the members of the JBC who are lawyers, particularly our chairman, Senator Coco and Senator Kiko. The proposal that is being put forward in order to help and make the process more efficient and less political is that the transfers of stations uh, of the incumbent judges and the promotion of incumbent judges should no longer require a JBC processing and appointment by the Chief Justice. I'm sorry, by the President, but an appointment by the Chief Justice to be confirmed by the court in bank. In other words, the JBC's role will be limited to the new entrance to the judiciary. Is that a correct conclusion that we're making?
I, in my opinion, humble opinion, Senator, only transfers, but promotion they should pass through the JBC. Promotions.
In
Uh,
cases of promotions from first level to second level courts, that
yes,
will go to the JBC, in
yes,
your view?
yes. Any promotion, Senator.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
But
the justices vote before our vote, and we are influenced.
yes.
It's not binding, but
Yes.
we are influenced by their voting.
Okay, but insofar as lateral transfers,
Yes,
which today requires an appointment by the president and a JBC endorsement, you are saying this should be the appointing power should be the Chief Justice concurred in by the court and bank.
yes, Senator. Yes, it's more practical. It will lessen
Yes,
our problems in the JBC.
that only requires an amendment of the Judiciary Act, not an amendment of the Constitution.
No, Judiciary Act only. Senator, I think
I
so.
invite the attention of my good friend Coco Pimentel and Senator Kiko and the lawyers, members of the Judicial Committee in the House to take note of this suggestion in order to address and unclog the very heavy schedule of the JBC. There is really no sense in requiring a new appointment for lateral transfers. It is simply contrary to any good management practice. A lateral transfer would require a new appointment.
New
Kagaya,
application, new application, new nomination,
yes,
new appointment.
yes,
And they are already
yes,
in the service. They're
that's
already
correct. Promotions should go pass through JBC, but lateral transfers should not. And how, how, what, could you give us a rough estimate of the reduction of the load of the JBC if this, if the Judicial Act is amended along this line? Will that relieve the JBC of a lot of load?
not much, Senator, because during my first term, there were only few who applied for lateral transfers. But we gave them preference. We gave them preference because of their long stay in the provinces. They want to transfer to Manila. We give them preference. But there a handful only, because sometimes they're already settled with their families where they are assigned.
Yeah, but
But
that's
it will help.
correct.
It will help. It will help, Senator. It's
So
not.
you're saying it will not help any much anyway, even if you remove that. The other unquantifiable issue, benefit there is to lessen the political influence
Yes, correct.
in these transfers, but I do not know how serious a problem that is to as to require amendment to the Judiciary Act. But it's a food for thought. Maybe that can be mulled upon by, and that cannot be done by the Supreme Court in exercise of its administrative supervision over the lower courts.
Not yet, not at this. It has no power at this time, Senator.
Now, and moreover, I think transfers without the consent of the transferee is limited to 6 months.
Sometimes they are detailed because
Yeah.
there are questions about his independence like that. They are detailed. Sometimes there are threats on their lives, so they are also detailed. But they are not they're permanent transfers. They have to return to their stations.
In fact, there are some courts, uh, as I know, which have been vacant for decades because nobody would want to take a permanent position there, particularly those in the South. Is that situation still a valid
Yes.
assessment?
Last September 17, we reopened several more than 40 stations in Mindanao because there were few applicants. We need at least 3 to nominate. So I am encouraging those applying in Manila to apply in the provinces because the chances of being nominated is very good because there are only 4 candidates, 5 candidates like that.
Mm. That is why there are courts there, first level, second level courts, which have remained vacant for years and years because no one wants to apply for that position. Is
And
that an assessment?
it's very surprising, Senator, because courts are not located in the mountains. They are located in cities, in capital towns, and there's still no applicants. So we invited the Integrated Bar of the Philippines to endorse qualified candidates.
Well, I think
We had the dialogue.
yeah, I think it's a security issue more than anything else.
Maybe in the that's our probably like in Holo.
Yes.
I remember in the past there was only one candidate, and he invited other lawyers to apply also, so they could fulfill the 3 nominees, the
Ah,
numbers.
yeah. Well, that's the reality in that part of the country. Anyway, so talking about that, how many, unless you've already stated it for the record, how many vacancies are there on the first level and second level courts as of, say, the end of 2020, as of December 2020? How many vacancies are there?
Uh, to be
First level.
honest, Senator, I really do not know. The exact number of vacancies. But we have it in our website. I just do not. It is always there. We have a monthly. We publish it monthly. The vacancies. Uh, in the
You don't
website.
have it right now. Would
Yeah,
you mind sending? I'm interested in that. If you can
Yeah.
send the data as of December 31, 2020. And
This,
Yes.
to
this afternoon, Senator, I can send them. I can
and to
send it,
appreciate,
the
yeah,
vacancies.
and to appreciate the significance of these numbers, can you give us the comparative vacancies, say for the last 3 years, ending December 31 of a particular year? So December 31 of 2019, 2020, I mean 2018, 2019, 2020. I want to see if there are if the situation is getting worse, if the situation is getting better in terms of vacancies in our judiciary. Can we have that data,
I will
Mr.
send
Chief?
the data this afternoon, Senator.
Okay, thank you
Mr.
very much.
President, Mr. Chairman, with the permission, just on that point, additional
Yeah,
info then that we may request for. Yes.
Senator.
And if the good justice could also give us the breakdown in terms of the local level,
Yes,
because
we can do that.
so that we get a sense of really what is happening in the ground.
Yes, Senator, I can do that.
Thank you.
I-
Thank you, Minority Leader.
And just
Senator Drilon, are you done or not yet? Senator Drilon,
a
continue.
few more points, unless
Okay,
somebody
continue.
a few more points. And just as a curiosity, can you include in your report which branch would have the longest vacancy on record? Ilang taon na bang vacant itong husgadong ito?
that I do
I
not know,
just,
but I think the records will bear it out. As of
yes,
this moment, I do not know.
yes, just
It
give
did
us,
not cross my mind though.
okay.
I think it will be
Uh,
in Mindanao, but as of this moment, escapes
yeah,
me.
just please submit it. And could you also indicate a report in that report? What is the average time that a vacancy would exist before it is filled up?
Ah,
If you can, yeah, if
if
you
we
can.
can, because Senator, it is the Office of the Court Administrator which furnishes us the number of vacancies, and then we will include them in the announcement. But
Yeah,
we have a system during the time of Chief Justice De Castro. She proposed that priorities be given to those whose caseload are 800 or over. And then after filling them up, we gave priority to those uh, whose caseloads are 300 or over. And then we go again regional, first, second, third, and then Metro Manila, and then we go to Visayas and the Mindanao. That's systematic. It's better, faster, rather than they're mixed up.
just one final request, uh, Justice Mendoza. Can you submit to us a draft of a bill which would allow the Chief Justice and the Supreme Court en banc to be able to make permanent transfers of the same rank feasible without going through the JBC, so that you can, for whatever it is, help it will have. So to help unburden the JBC with these appointments, because I really could not understand, if it's on the same level, why does it have to have a new appointment from branch 1 to branch 2? Ang
Yes.
pagitan na isang pintuan lang. Pero kailangan ang JBC deliberation, kailangan pumunta sa Malacanang. Hindi naman siguro kailangan yan. But we have to amend the Judiciary Act. So would you mind, kasama na po siguro sa boto ko sa iyo, gawa lang ng simple law amendment to the Judiciary Act, which would allow the shifting of the appointment from the President to the Supreme Court and removing the burden from the JBC for same level for appointments to the same level of the courts.
Senator, I can do that, but I have to consult the present Chief Justice and Chief Justice Bersamin, Chief Justice De Castro,
Yes.
and Justice Peralta, because they all I think they already recommended that, so there will be no conflict. I'd like to consult them first, and then send
If
it
they
to
have
your office.
what more reason, if they've recommended that, so that they'll be supportive of it, they may have already drafted a proposed bill
Yes.
which will affect the Judiciary Act, and I would appreciate any help from you on that point, Justice Mendoza.
Yes, I will do that. I will consult them. Maybe they have already submitted before, so that there will be no conflict.
Okay, good. So maybe if we can have this before the end of the month, by next week, is that possible, Mr. Justice?
I'll
One
do my
week's time?
very best, Senator, if I can contact them. I think I can contact them if they have a copy of, I think the Office of the Court Administrator also has a copy. Maybe maybe they have, I think I can submit it.
Thank you very much, Justice Mendoza. With that, I have no further questions and would vote for the endorsement of the nominee to the plenary for the confirmation of his ad interim appointment. Thank you very much, Mr. Justice. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. This is the closest that we can get to screening members of the judiciary by screening the screeners of the judiciary. So, Justice, siguro one last suggestion from the chairman, because you mentioned that one of the qualities that you look for the potential members of the judiciary is their judicial temperament. And one of the criticisms that I really hear against our justice system is the delay, inordinate delay. So pwede po ba, if we can make it a big element of the judicial temperament that we are looking for, or even make it a separate quality that we look for, is the sense of urgency, the attitude against delay of the applicant to the judiciary, na talagang he wants to be a member of the judiciary because he wants to put an end to friction in society at the soonest possible time. Yun lang po ang request ko, kung pwede natin i-elevate yung sense of urgency as an important element of the judicial temperament that you're looking for, or make it a separate quality, sir, that to look for in the applicants to the judiciary.
They undergo, Senator, Mr. Chair, psychological examination. From there, we read their personality, their character, and also because of their reputation, experience, we hear from that. Now, with respect to the incoming appointees, we decode through the PhilJA has embarked on a skills-based training programs to address the problem of court delays. When they are appointed, they will have this skills-based training programs. But with respect to the JBC, we indirectly compel them to do their work, expedite the disposition of cases by giving preference to those who have uh, to those who have reasonably or considerably reduced the dockets. We give them preference, but we compare. Not all high dockets are because, for example, there are localities or places where the cases are really high, like Antipolo, and the average there is 2,000, 3,000. If you have 1,000, that means you have disposed a lot. So it's relative justice. And also we require them to avoid delays. We require them to stay for at least 5 years in their current position so they can attend to the cases so that they will not be preoccupied with applying for promotion. Those are the things to those are the things that we consider to indirectly compel them to uh, to dispose of their cases.
Thank you. Thank you, Justice. At least the strategy is there.
Yes.
Senator Revilla, are you about to raise your hand, sir?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you are
Yes,
recognized, sir.
Oh,
Mr. Chairman, I would like to spread into the records my full support on the ad interim appointment of Honorable Jose Cadral Mendoza as a member representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court at the Judicial and Bar Council. I have full confidence and in the qualification and character of our appointee. Siya po'y malawak na karanasan at kakayahan sa batas at wala po akong question sa kanyang pagkakatalaga bilang miyembro ng JBC. We are fully supportive of Associate Justice Mendoza. Sir, congratulations in advance. And that's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you
thank
po.
you very much, Congressman.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Kung wala na po, I will now recognize the majority leader.
I move to recommend to the plenary for the commission to confirm the ad interim appointment of Justice Jose Catral Mendoza as member representing the retired justice of the Supreme Court, Judicial and Bar Council, Supreme Court of the Philippines, for a term expiring on July 9, 2025. I so move.
There is a,
I
there is a
second
motion,
the motion. I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
multiple
Yes.
times. Yes. Yes, sir. The
Mis-
motion has been seconded multiple times to recommend to the plenary for the commission to confirm the ad interim appointment of Justice Jose Catral Mendoza as member representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court, Judicial and Bar Council, Supreme Court of the Philippines for a term expiring on July 9, 2025. Is there any objection? Okay, there being none, the same is hereby approved. Majority Leader,
There being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Thank
is
you
there
very
an
much.
objection? Is there an objection? Hearing none, meeting is hereby adjourned. Congratulations,
Third regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Secretary, kindly call the roll.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Honorable Chairman of the Committee on National Defense of the Commission on Appointments, Representative Luis John A. Ferrer IV is present. The other officers and members of this committee are Alvarez Jr., Arbison,
Present.
De La Rosa,
Present.
Go,
Oh, present.
Lacson, Pimentel III, Cagas, Chipeco Jr.,
Present.
Noel,
Present.
Pangilinan,
Present.
Po, Ramirez Sato, Recto, Revilla Jr.,
Present.
Villar,
Yes,
Present.
yes, present.
yes,
Senator
Senator Villar, Mike present, Subiri, Zamora,
Present.
Present.
yes, Congresswoman Sato, Almario, Villanueva, Pancho,
Present.
Drilon, Advincula,
Present. Mayor.
Heron.
With 3 members present in person, including chair, and 17 members present online, we have a total of 20 members present. Existence of a quorum is hereby declared. Majority Leader,
Mr. Chair, I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on September 15, 2021, and consider the same as approved.
is there an objection? Chair hears none. The reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on September 15, 2021 is dispensed with, and the same is considered approved. Morning, esteemed colleagues. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today, your committee will deliberate on the 29 ad interim appointments and 3 nominations of the General, Flag, and Senior Officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Kindly stand up as your name is called. Danilo G. Fuentes Jr. to the rank of Rear Admiral. Ferdinand S. Razalan to the rank of Brigadier General. Julius A. Cabarloc to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Dennis S. Caña to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Robert Albert P. Henete to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Ruben B. Ginolbay to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Fernando G. Balona to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Jose O. Aicardo Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Crescencio M. Mogado to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Add interim appointments of Christian P. Manglikmot to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force. Abraham C. Bayan to the rank of Colonel, Medical Corps Reserve. George P. Cabreros, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Norberto P. Aromin Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Alexander G. Abilo to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy Reserve. Jonathan B. Gastardo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force. Nerelito P. Martinez to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Julius A. Tomines to the rank of Brigadier General. Joey T. Pontiveros to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Derek S. Ablog to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force. Jaime A. Abawag Jr. to the rank of Brigadier General. Florante P. Sison to the rank of Brigadier General. Francisco Ariel A. Felisadario III to the rank of Major General. Susan T. Rodolfo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force. John R. Garanya to the rank of Commodore. Jonas B. Templo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Jude P. Ejercito to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force Reserve. Edward L. Libago to the rank of Major General. Willester S. Robles to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Gerald S. Bautista to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy Marines. Mars D. Tadulan to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Eloy Sotero C. Fabian Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy Marines. Jemuel D. Angdason to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Mr. Secretary, kindly report on the jurisdictional requirements and other pertinent information relative to their 29 and ad interim appointments and 3 nominations in compliance with the new rules of the Commission and the new rules of the standing committees.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The 29 ad interim appointments and 3 nominations dated June 4 and 22, July 6, 16, 19, and 23, and August 9 and 12, 2021, under consideration today by the committee, were received by the Commission on June 23, July 8, 19, and 29, and August 4, 10, and 16, 2021, respectively, when were forthwith referred by the Senate President and CA Chairperson Vicente C. Soto III to the Committee on National Defense pursuant to Section 16, Chapter 5 of the new rules of the Commission. The said ad interim appointments and nominations were published on various dates in 2 newspapers of general circulation and broadcast over PTB4 pursuant to Section 2, Article 2 of the new rules of the standing committees. All the appointees and nominees complied with the submission of the documentary requirements as provided in Section 24, Chapter 6 of the new rules of the Commission. Your CA Secretariat received letters from the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, J1, Major General Adriano S. Perez Jr., requesting for the waiver of the personal appearances of the following senior officers. Captain Nerelito P. Martinez, who underwent head surgery due to acute mastocytitis last September 18, 2021, and is currently recuperating from the said medical procedure. Captain Willester S. Robles, who is now under quarantine as she came in close contact with a co-worker last December 17, who tested positive for COVID-19. And Colonel Jonathan Gastardo, who also came in close contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19 and is now under quarantine. The above-mentioned senior officers will be appearing online in today's hearing. There was no opposition filed against any of the appointees and nominees. That is all, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, I move that the letters requesting for the waiver of the personal appearances of the above-mentioned senior officers be approved.
To an objection? Chair hears none. Motion is hereby approved. Secretary, kindly administer the oath to all the appointees and nominees, including those who are present online.
Kindly all stand up and raise your right hand. Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding, so help you God? Mr. Chairman, they are now all under oath.
May you call on Rear Admiral Danilo Fuentes Jr., the most senior among the officers now under consideration, to take the seat in front. Sir? You may now seat, gentlemen. Sir, you may now give your opening statement if you have any.
To the honorable members of the
Kindly remove your face mask, sir. Thank you.
to the honorable members of the Committee on Defense of the Commission on Appointments, chaired by Honorable Representative Congressman Ferrer, sir. Good morning, sirs and moms. Sir, I am Rear Admiral Danilo G. Fuentes Jr., the most senior among the group of 32. We are appearing before this board, sir, as we are appointed by the President and to be confirmed by the people of the Philippines. And as a process, the honorable members of this committee, as representative of the people, we have to undergo with this process, Your Honor, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now floor is now open for the members if they have any question or manifestation. Senator Bongo. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make of record my utmost gratitude and support to the 32 general and senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines whose nominations will be given consent to, and ad interim appointments will be confirmed today. Let me express my full support for the confirmation of the ad interim appointments of Colonel George Cabreros, na naging commanding officer po ng 11th Forward Service Support Unit, Army Support Command, Philippine Army sa Kampanakan sa Davao, at kasalukuyang Chief of Staff, Army Support Command, Philippine Army. Commodore John Garanya, na nagsilbing Chief of Staff, Naval Forces, Eastern Mindanao. At ngayon ay Assistant Deputy Chief of Staff for Financial Management. Further, I extend my full support for the confirmation of the ad interim appointments of Rear Admiral Danilo Fuentes Jr., Brigadier General Ferdinand Razalan, Colonel Julius Cabarlo, Colonel Dennis Kanya, Colonel Ronald Albert Henete, Colonel Ruben Ginolbay, Colonel Fernando Balona, Colonel Jose Aicardo Jr., Colonel Crescencio Mugado, Colonel Christian Mang Likmot, Colonel Abraham Bayan, Colonel Norberto Aromin Jr., Navy Captain Alexander Abilo, Colonel Jonathan Gastardo, Navy Captain Nerelito Martinez, Brigadier General Julius Tumines, Colonel Joey Pontiveros, Colonel Derek Ablog, Major General Francisco Ariel Felicidario III, and Colonel Susan Rodolfo, babae po ito, Colonel Jonas Templo, Colonel Jude Estrada, anak yata to ni dating Pangulong Estrada. Navy Captain Williester Robles, Colonel Gerald Bautista, Navy Captain Mars Tadulan, Colonel Sotero Fabian Jr., Navy Captain Jemuel Angdason, and lastly, I express my support for the nominations of Brigadier General Jaime Abawag Jr., Brigadier General Florante Sison, and Major General Edward Lee Bago. With that, once again, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for your untiring service to the Filipino nation and our people. Lalong-lalo na po sa panahon ng pandemya, maraming salamat po sa inyong serbisyo. Congratulations to all of you. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Bongo. Any other member? Senator Bato de la Rosa, sir, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to ask a question to Colonel Ruben Hinulbay. Colonel Ruben Hinulbay, is he around, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yes,
Go ahead, Senator.
Colonel Ruben Hinulbay, anong class ka?
Your Honor, sir, I'm a member of PMA class 1994, sir.
94. So, mista mo si former Senator Trillanes, am I correct?
Sir, I'm his immediate upper class, sir.
95 pala si, 95 si Senator Trillanes.
Yes, sir.
Magtanong lang ako tungkol sa, you were recommended for a Medal of Valor doon sa Lamitan, Basilan, during your encounter with Abu Sayyaf last 2001. Ano na nangyari sa recommendation mo?
Sir, I was recommended, sir. I had the honor to be recommended for the Valor, sir. It went to the process, sir, and as far as I'm concerned, sir, I was awarded with the Distinguished Conduct Star, sir.
Okay. So, binaba ng one rank lower yung recommendation. Bakit ano bang accomplishment yun? Ilan bang patay sa kalaban?
Sir, actually, if think Senator Subiri could attest to this because he was there during the investigation. There was a Senate and congressional inquiry about that, sir, and we were ambushed, but we were able to fight back, sir, and we were able to recover some hostages. The body counts of the Abu Sayyaf killed there, sir, was not. We were not able to recover any body count, sir. We were able to recover the hostages, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Just akala ko kasi you were recommended for Medal of Valor, then hindi ka man lang binigyan, hindi na-approve at hindi nabigyan. But per your statement, you were given, you were awarded instead the number 2, the second highest, which is Distinguished Conduct Star. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. I was awarded the Distinguished Conduct Star 2011, sir.
Okay. So kung awarded ka na, wala na akong problema doon. Kasi kung hindi ka na awarded, na recommended ka, tapos wala man lang award, hindi mo lang na-actionan, then I will help you fight for what you deserve. But yung pala, nabigyan ka na pala. So I'm okay with that. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your, you did not fail our alma mater. You stand for what is a real PMER is lumalaban at hindi tumatakbo sa labanan. Yun lang, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to manifest my support to everyone, Mr. Chairman. I join our colleagues in support of the confirmation of the appointments and nominations of our military officers today, led by Rear Admiral to be si Danilo Fuentes and of course, Colonel Rubin Hinulbay. Dali lang, yung aking prepared na statement ay nawawala.
Take your time po.
See, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Go ahead, sir. You may continue po.
Hindi ko na nabasahin. Basta I am fully in support sa kanilang mga endorsement to the plenary for their permanent appointment or confirmation of their appointment. Dahil itong mga bata na ito, Mr. Chairman, talagang sila ay lumalaban para sa ating bayan at they deserve to be where they are now. And I'm very proud to be among them, most of them. And I also would like to cite the patriotism of Colonel Jude Estrada, who is, although he is a former, he's a son of a former president, but still he chose to join the reserve force just to show his patriotism to this country. And I would like to thank him for that. Sana mas marami pang mga kabataan na susunod sa kanya para yung ating bansa ay lalong lumakas militarily. Para anytime may mangyari sa ating bansa, meron tayong malakas na reserve force na pwedeng mag-back up sa ating active military force anytime kung may mangyari. Yun lang, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. And Colonel Rubin Hinulbay, kung hindi mo nakuha yung Medal of Valor mo with the rank of yung battalion commander ka pa or ano bang rank mo noon, but pwede mo pa rin kunin yun kahit full colonel ka na. Kung yun talaga ang vision mo, pwede mong kunin. Go ahead and good luck. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Bato de Rosa. We'd like to recognize Senator Bong Revilla, and after Senator Bong Revilla, Senator Francis Pangilinan. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is to convey my support to the General and Flag Officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Unang-una po kay Rear Admiral Danilo Fuentes Jr., currently the Commander of Naval Sea System Command, Port San Felipe sa Cavite City po. Major General Francisco Ariel Feliciadario III, who has 36 years of military service and who I commend for his involvement in enhancing the educational literacy and livelihood training of scholars in the Cordillera. Brigadier General Edward Libago, who is nominated to the rank of Major General, a highly decorated pilot and military officer, and currently the commander of the Air Force Reserve Command. Commodore John Garanya, currently the Assistant Deputy Chief of Staff for Financial Management, Camp Aguinaldo. Brigadier General Julius Tomines, currently the Commandant of Cadets and concurrent head of the Tactics Group, Philippine Military Academy. Brigadier General Ferdinand Razalan, currently the Assistant Deputy Chief of Staff for the Service and Retirees Affairs. Colonel Florante Sison, who is nominated to the rank of Brigadier General and recipient of Gold Cross Medal for gallantry in action during government's assault and capture of Camp Abu Bakar, the main camp of the MILF. Colonel Jaime Abawag Jr., who is nominated to the rank of Brigadier General and recognized with the Philippine Legion of Honor. May I also spread into the record my full support to the confirmation of Colonel Jude Estrada, the service of the Philippine Air Force, the brother of my good friend, former Senator Jingo Estrada, and the son of the former President Joseph Estrada, and former Senator Loy Estrada. Through his true to his Estrada roots, Colonel Ejercito has a heart for the needy. Established the Anak ng Masa Foundation with the mission of assisting victims of calamities. He was honored with a Bronze Cross Medal in 2020 for his rendering voluntary service in several areas in Metro Manila, and for spearheading the development of the reservist task unit to those with the highest number of COVID-19 cases. He was also recognized with the Sagisag ng Ulirang Kawal Medal in 2018 for actively participating in Oplan Kalusugan and providing support services to the least fortunate. Again, my commendation and full support to his confirmation. Lastly, I'd like to commend all the officers in uniform before us for choosing to serve in the armed forces as protector of the state and of the people. Marami po sa inyong mga operasyon, mga gawain at mga tagumpay ang hindi nababatid ng publiko, bagamat malaki ang kontribusyon sa pagpapanatili ng kapayapaan sa ating bansa at dahilan upang makatulog ng mahimbing ang ating mga kababayan. As we were reading through your profiles, you survived many field and combat operations against lawless elements. And your collective efforts have all been instrumental in the success of government's efforts in thwarting terrorist activities and dismantling criminal groups. Muli, maraming salamat po sa inyong walang sawang paglilingkod sa ating bansa. Nawa po'y patuloy kayong maging ligtas sa gitna ng pandemya at higit sa lahat sa mga laban na inyong susuungin sa hinaharap. Saludo po kami sa inyo. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Bong Revilla. Senator Francis Pangilinan, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Magandang umaga sa kanilang lahat. I join our colleagues in supporting the confirmation of 29 ad interim appointments and 3 nominations for general and flag and senior officers. We'd like to thank our men in uniform for their sacrifice and service to the nation. Nabanggit kanina ni Colonel Ginolbay that the House and the Senate investigated the Lamitan incident in 2001. I was a neophyte senator then, and I remember the narration and the testimony of, I think, then Captain, or was it First Lieutenant Ginolbay. We thank you too for your sacrifice and your service. Naalala ko yon, bagong-bagong senador ako, humarap ka sa amin dito sa Senado. So I wish them well, and again, I wish to thank them for their service, and we support their confirmation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to everyone.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Any other member who wish to manifest or have a question to our appointees? There being none, Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, I move that the committee recommends to the plenary for the commission to confirm the 29 ad interim appointments and to give its consent to the 3 nominations of the general, flag, and senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Is there any objection? Okay, duly seconded and no objection. Motion is hereby approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, there being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn the meeting.
No objection? Okay. The meeting is hereby adjourned. Congratulations po sa inyong lahat.
The fifth plenary session of the Commission on Appointments in the third regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Let's all pause for a minute of silent prayer. Thank you. Please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang mag-ibig, dalas ng silanganan, parang na puso, sa katipoy buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyang ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulubi, di ka pasisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baka, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang islap ng watang at mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig, ang bituin na tarang kailan pa may di magdidinig, lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay ang langit sa piling mo, ang ligaya lahat may mga api, ang mamatay lang dahil sa'yo.
Thank you. The Secretary will please call the roll.
Thank you. The honorable members of the Commission on Appointments. Advincula,
Present.
Almario, Alvarez Jr., Arbison,
Present.
Cagas,
Okay naman.
Chepeco Jr.,
Present.
De La Rosa,
Present.
Tingnan mo nga
Trilon,
kung magsasound to, yeah.
Ferrer de Fort, Heron, Go,
Present.
Lacson, Noel,
Present.
Pancho,
Present.
Pangilinan,
Present.
Pimentel III, Po,
Present.
Ramirez Sato,
Present.
Recto,
Present.
Revilla Jr.,
Present.
Villanueva,
Present.
Villar,
Present.
Zamora, Subiri.
Present.
The chairperson is present.
With two members physically present and 19 online, for a total of 21, the chair declares the existence of a quorum. Majority Leader,
Mr. Chair, I move to dispense with the reading of the journal of the plenary session held on September 15, 2021, and consider the same as approved.
all right, any objection? Chair hears none. The journal is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, may we now proceed to consider the recommendation of the Committee on Justice and Judicial and Bar Council on the ad interim appointment of Mr. Jose Catral Mendoza as member representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court, Judicial and Bar Council, Supreme Court of the Philippines for a term of expiring on July 9, 2025. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the consideration of the recommendation of the Committee on Justice and Judicial and Bar Council is in order. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, I move that the chairperson of the Committee on Justice and Judicial and Bar Council, Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III, be recognized.
Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III is hereby recognized.
Maraming salamat po. Mr. Chairman, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good noon to all of you. Today, I am distinctly honored and privileged to sponsor the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of the Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza, who is with us online, as member of the Judicial and Bar Council representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court for a term expiring on July 9, 2025. Mr. Chairman, fellow members of the Commission on Appointments, Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza exemplifies his alma mater's motto, Fides Scientia Virtus. By faith, the Honorable Justice believed that his career path all the way to the Supreme Court was made possible by the grace of the Almighty. Growing up, he allowed himself to be molded in piety, wisdom, gentleness through the seminary foundation at the St. Francis de Sales Seminary in his native Lipa City, Batangas. But although Justice Mendoza had the burning desire to be with the religious, the law was also in his heart, and so our appointee pursued a different path. By knowledge, Justice Mendoza took up political science in the University of the Philippines and thereafter immersed himself into the study of law in the San Beda College of Law. He took the bar exams in 1971 and was admitted to the practice of law the following year. Justice Mendoza may not have been ordained according to the line of Melchizedek, but his destiny was to sit among the gods of Padre Paula. His outstanding legal practice spanned 36 fruitful years, 28 years of which was in the judiciary as a judge in the Regional Trial Court of Santa Cruz, Laguna, and Quezon City, and as Justice of the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court. All throughout and until this day, Justice Mendoza used his talents and gifts to uphold justice, serving no other master but God. By virtue, behind Justice Mendoza's low public profile hides tons of accomplishments that others would have unabashedly bannered on. He was neither the Chief Justice nor was he the most senior in the Supreme Court, but his wise counsel and views have always been sought by his colleagues. Socrates, the wisest man in Athens, once said that virtue is knowledge. Justice Mendoza lived by that adage and more. Justice Mendoza's life story would not be complete without mentioning his loving and supporting wife, Livia Soledad Rojas. She is a gem in our appointee's heart that made his brilliance even more luminous. She played an important role in his rise in the judiciary ladder. She is a constant anchor in his life's journey. Remarkably, our appointee is fulfilling his journey with wisdom, integrity, and justice. These are indispensable virtues which one must possess to faithfully pursue the constitutional mandate of the Judicial and Bar Council, which is to enrich the quality of search, screening, and selection process of the applicants to the judiciary based on competence, integrity, and probity. Justice Mendoza was previously confirmed by this Commission on Appointments on December 6, 2017 as a member of the Judicial and Bar Council. Having been reappointed by the President, he now faces this commission for confirmation the second time. Hence, we already know that Justice Mendoza remains to be highly qualified. Mr. Chairman, fellow members of the Commission, it is my honor and privilege to move for the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of the Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza as member of the Judicial and Bar Council representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court for a term expiring on July 9, 2025. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Before we take action on the motion, I am told that Senator Franklin Dillon would like to second the motion. Senator Dillon, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I stand before you today to support the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of Justice Jose Catral Mendoza as member of the Judicial and Bar Council, representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court for a term ending on July 9, 2025. Mr. Chairman, Justice Mendoza finished his undergraduate studies in the right school. He finished his Bachelor of Arts in the University of the Philippines, where we were roommates or dormmates in the Yakal Residence Hall in the mid-60s. I will withhold my comment on where he graduated and finished his law. But, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, Justice Mendoza's eligibility for this position is shown not only by his 36 years of exemplary service in the judiciary, but also by his leadership in the JBC during his first term. Justice Mendoza devoted 28 years as judge of the Regional Trial Court of Santa Cruz, Laguna, then of Quezon City, then as Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals, and then of the Supreme Court. Under Justice Mendoza's guidance, the JBC performed remarkably well. Records show that from 2017 to 2019, the JBC exceeded its target by more than double. Even with the dawn of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, the JBC was able to achieve 90% of its target. JBC resorted to technological, and digital innovations. Through the efforts of our nominee, Justice Mendoza, the Judicial and Bar Council surpassed its target by almost 106% as of June 30, 2021. Aside from this, Mr. Chairman, my colleagues, the JBC also revised its rules by, one, requiring applicants to have served served for at least 5 years in his current position before he can apply for promotion. Second, giving preference to those who have consistently reduced their docket. Third, eliminating the rule which discriminated against government lawyers. And fourth, strictly implementing the pre-judicature program, or the PJP, of the Philippine Judicial Academy provided in Section 10 of Republica 8557. Mr. Chairman, my distinguished colleagues, it is my honor and privilege to support the motion of Senator Pimentel to recommend to the plenary the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of Justice Jose Catral Mendoza as member representing the retired justice of the Supreme Court of the Judicial and Bar Council for a term expiring July 9, 2025. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
A gentleman from Batangas was earlier raising his hand. Senator Ralph Recto, were you
Thank
seeking
you, Mr. President. I join the chairman of our committee, Senator Coco Pimentel, Senator Frank Dillon, in seconding the nomination of Justice Mendoza. We are proud of his achievements. Kababayan ko sa Lipa, sa Batangas, congratulations in advance, Justice Mendoza. I so move, Mr. President. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Senator Francis Pangilinan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I join our minority leader, our chairman of the Committee on Judicial and Bar Council, our Senate President pro tempore in seconding the nomination of Justice Mendoza for the position in the Judicial and Bar Council. when I was member of the Judicial and Bar Council in 2003, I voted for Justice Mendoza to become part, to sit in the Court of Appeals. And this was 18 years ago. And I'm very happy to see how far he has gone. And he can be rest assured that we will give the JBC our support in terms of continuing in the advocacy of reforming and modernizing our justice system in the country. And therefore, I second the motion for the record. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Mixubiri is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to second the nomination of Justice Mendoza. And he is a man of integrity and had done so much for the judicial branch of government, this country. He deserves this position, and I would like to second the nomination as well, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any other comment? There is a motion for the commission to confirm the ad interim appointment of Mr. Jose Catral Mendoza as member representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court, Judicial and Bar Council, Supreme Court of the Philippines for the term expiring on the 9th of July 2025. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The
On Foreign Affairs on the nomination and interim appointments of 19 officials in the Department of Foreign Affairs.
Any objection? Hearing none, the consideration of the recommendation of the Committee on Foreign Affairs is in order. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, upon the instruction of Senator Pamphilo M. Lacson, the Chair of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, I move that Representative Luis John A. Ferrer IV be recognized to make the appropriate motion on the recommendation of the Committee of Foreign Affairs, which conducted a hearing on the nomination and ad interim appointments of 19 officials in the Department of Foreign Affairs this morning.
As requested by the Chairman of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Senator Ping Lacson, Representative Ferrer Luis John Ferrer IV is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is my honor and privilege to move on behalf of Senator Panfilo M. Lacson, the Chair of the Committee on Foreign Affairs. The Commission gives its consent to the nomination and confirms the ad interim appointments of the 19 officials in the Department of Foreign Affairs. Allow me to read the sponsorship speech of Senator Panfilo Lacson. Mr. Chair, distinguished members of the Commission on Appointments, his representation as the chairman of the Committee on Foreign Affairs presided over a public hearing this morning to deliberate on the nomination of one ambassador, extraordinary, and plenipotentiary. The committee likewise deliberated on the ad interim appointments of 18 senior officials of the Department of Foreign Affairs, consisting of 5 senior officials who are promoted to the rank of Chief of Mission, Class 1, 6 senior officials promoted to the rank of Chief of Mission, Class 2, 5 senior officials promoted to the rank of Career Ministers, and 2 senior officials promoted to the rank of Foreign Service Officers, Class 1. Your committee, after deliberating on their qualifications and fitness during the public hearing, determined that they are all fit and qualified to be in their posts where they are nominated and appointed, and therefore ruled to recommend to the plenary their appointments for the consent and approval of this body. Mr. Chair, may I request Ambassador Mario Fontanilla Chan to rise to be recognized. Our nominee is a fellow Cavalier, a proud member of PMA Makataruan class of 1978, a distinguished recipient of the 1988 Junior Officer Award. His military career for 38 years has been a mark of honor. In 1994, he received a Bronze Cross Medal for acts of heroism and gallantry in action. He was conferred with the Distinguished Service Star in 2001, as a Group Commander of Military Intelligence Group 17 under AFP's Intelligence Service, and he was honored with the Distinguished Service Star in 2005 as the Philippine Defense and Armed Force Attaché in New Delhi, India. His diplomatic missions for 3 years as the Philippine Defense and Armed Forces Attaché in India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Nepal prior to joining the DFA also yielded favorable accomplishments. In fact, he was credited for providing assistance to the Philippine Embassy during the evacuation of non-essential staff out of India during the India-Pakistan security tensions in October of 2002. To this end, his unit earned the distinction of being the best post during his stint as the Philippine Defense and Armed Force Attaché in India. Mr. Chairman and distinguished colleagues, it is my privilege and honor to recommend that this body give its consent to the nomination of Ambassador Mario Fontanilla Chan as Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to the Federative Republic of Brazil with concurrent jurisdiction over the Republic of Colombia, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the Republic of Suriname, and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, with the salary and emoluments of a Chief of Mission Class 1. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman, I would also like to recommend to the Commission confirmation of the ad interim appointments of the following office officials to the rank of Chief of Mission Class 1. Mr. Sulpicio Miguel Confiado. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Mr. Nathaniel Garcia Imperial. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Charlie Pacanya Manangan. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ms. Jaceline Mancenido Quintana. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Mr. Renato Pedro Oabel Villa. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Chair, I would also like to recommend to the Commission to the confirmation of the ad interim appointments of the following officials to the rank of Chief of Mission Class 2. Mr. Leo Tito Lunar Ausan Jr. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Mr. Jose Almodovar Cabrera III. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Mr. Emilio Torres Fernandez. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Mr. Josel Francisco Ignacio. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ms. Rosario Paulino Lemke. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And Mr. Marcos Angelo Abad Santos Punsalang. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
I would also like to recommend to the Commission the confirmation of the ad interim appointments of the following officials to the rank of Career Ministers. Mr. Ari Severino Villascusa Convalecer. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ms. Maria Paz Gaban Cortez. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ms. Cristina Gracia Rola Emkernan. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ms. Rachel Pajarailaga Quiñones. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And Mr. Joseph Anthony Aquino Reyes. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Finally, Mr. Chairman, I recommend the confirmation of the ad interim appointments of the following to the rank of Foreign Service Officers Class 1. Mr. Redentor Diaz Henotiva. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ms. Mary Grace Villanueva Villamayor. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
That is all, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Representative Ferrer. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, may we now proceed to consider the recommendation of the Committee on National Defense on the ad interim appointments and nominations of 32 general, flag, and senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, the consideration of the recommendation of the Committee on National Defense is in order. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, I move that the chairperson of the Committee on National Defense, Representative Luis John A. Ferrer IV, be recognized.
Chairman of the Defense Committee, Representative Luis John Ferrer IV is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, distinguished members of the Commission on Appointments, this representation as Chairman of the Committee on National Defense presided over a public hearing this morning to deliberate on the ad interim appointments and nominations of 32 general, flag, and senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Your committee, after deliberating on their qualifications and fitness during the public hearing, determined that they are all fit and qualified to be promoted to the ranks where they are appointed and nominated, and therefore ruled to recommend to the plenary for the commission to confirm the 29 ad interim appointments and to give its consent to 3 nominations of general, flag, and senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, namely Danilo G. Fuentes Jr. to the rank of Rear Admiral.
Any objection?
Mr. President, if I may be allowed to just
Senator
second the
Joel
motion.
Villanueva, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is just to second the motion of our distinguished chairperson, Congressman Ferrer, to approve and confirm the nomination of my kababayan, my kababayan, Mr. President, Danilo Galvez Fuentes Jr. from Plaridel, Bulacan. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. So any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Francisco Ariel A. Felicidario III to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Edward L. Libago to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ferdinand S. Razalan to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Julius A. Tomines to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
John R. Garanya to the rank of Commodore.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jaime A. Abawag Jr. to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Florante P. Season to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
George P. Cabreros to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Norberto P. Armin Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ronald Albert P. Henete to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Dennis S. Caña to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Julius A. Cabarloc to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Joey T. Fontiveros to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ruben B. Ginolbay to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jonas B. Templo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Fernando G. Balona to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jose O. Aicardo Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Vicencio M. Mogado to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Christian P. Maglikmot to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jonathan B. Castardo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Susan T. Rodolfo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Derek S. Ablog to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Nerelito P. Martinez to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Willester S. Robles to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Gerald S. Bautista to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy, Marines.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Mars D. Tadulan to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Eloy Sotero C. Fabian Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy, Marines.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
General D. Angdason to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jude P. Ejercito to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Alexander G. Abilo to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And Abraham C. Bayan to the rank of Colonel, Medical Corps Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
That is all, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Representative Ferrer. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, there being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn.
Any objection? Chair hears none. The session is hereby adjourned.